Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of our videocasts and podcasts by univrm.com. Today is one of our current event news articles titled Free Speech Only for Muslims? Free speech is only free if allowed to speak. The less than democratic trend in current event news toward groups screaming in an attempt to intimidate or reiterate propaganda to the point where they help you believe it. We have recently published articles about this trend in the U.S., where extreme factions, primarily the Republican Party, scream about rolling back democratic and social advancements. It is quite disturbing to see almost the same rhetoric coming out of the mouths of U.S. politicians like Sarah Palin, Michelle Bachmann, Rick Santorum, Herman Cain, and their equally fanatical ilk. Equally disturbing, but not as well covered in the press, are their Muslim equivalents attempting similar sanctimonious bullshit. In an interesting article published on this topic you can view on our website by Clifford May, we'll quote from his article. It's funny, in an Orwellian way, that in Europe there are now militant groups with such cutesy names as Sharia for Belgium and Sharia for Holland. Less funny, but perhaps more Orwellian, is this. Last month, the European Foundation for Democracy, the EFD, held an event in Amsterdam featuring two speakers who favor liberalizing Islam. More than 20 members of these pro-Sharia groups pushed their way in shouting Allah Akbar. They demanded the event be stopped, called the speakers apostates, spat on them, threw eggs at them, and threatened to kill them. In an advertisement, please remember univrm.com is offering a new science fiction book series titled Change Hope, released as a series on a chapter and book-by-book basis, like the old Amazing Stories magazine. Change Hope, available in all ebook formats and as an audiobook. You can purchase it by going to www.univrm.com/downloads/. On the other hand, we're a group of radical lesbians to do the exact same thing as the pro-Sharia people at the European Foundation for Democracy event, the press, and the Muslims, undoubtedly screaming, even louder than they did at the event, about Islamophobia and the silencing of their right to free speech. Threatening death or violence, as the radical Muslims did at the forum, might have led to physical altercations, and we're betting aloud we'd bet on the lesbians. In Clifford May's article, he put it this way. Now, here's the least funny and most Orwellian part. Very few Europeans, very few journalists, politicians, members of the self-proclaimed human rights community, or Muslim organizations claiming to be moderate have expressed outrage over this boot-stomping suppression of free speech in a city, country, and continent that claim to value freedom and tolerance. Imagine if the situation had been slightly different, if, say, a Muslim Brotherhood event had been violently disrupted by spitting, egg-throwing, death-threatening Christians or Jews. We like our radical lesbian analogy better. Quoting from May's article again, last year, Salman Taseer, the governor of Pakistan's Punjab province, defended a Christian woman sentenced to death under Pakistan's blasphemy law for having said something some Muslims found offensive. One of Taseer's own bodyguards shot him 27 times with an MP5 submachine guns. Many Pakistani clerics and religious scholars praised the killer and prohibited praying at Taseer's funeral. In Canada, Mohammed Shafia and Tuba Yahya, I'm not making these names up, convicted a few days ago of first-degree murder in the killing of 4 female family members, sisters Zainab, 19, Sahar, 17, and 13-year-old Geeti, as well as Mr. Shafia's first wife, Rona Amir Mohammed. The victims found dead in a car submerged in a canal outside Kingston. For these radical Muslims, this is their physical version of free speech, perversely called honor killings, or in other words, murdering free speech. In Turkey, shortly after telling his parents he was gay, his father in Istanbul gunned down Ahmet Yediz inside his car. It was Turkey's first officially recognized gay honor killing. We think we see a pattern here. Free speech now means agree with radical Muslims or branded anti-Islam, which may have lethal side effects. We believe in free speech, and whether Muslims or other groups think civilized discourse a good thing for everyone or not, well, frankly, we don't give a shit what they think. With a bit of satirical humor, we wonder what the Prophet Mohammed might say about this lack of civility and sanctimonious hypocrisy by his alleged all-knowing radical followers. We believe he will say, send in the lesbians and drag queens, who can scream even louder and claim even greater phobias. In another advertisement, please remember univrm.com is offering a new science fiction book series titled Change Hope, released as a series on a chapter and book-by-book basis like the old Amazing Stories magazine. Change Hope available in all ebook formats and as an audiobook. You can purchase by going to www.univrm.com/downloads/. You can subscribe to our articles via podcast at the iTunes Store by searching for univrm.com. You can also listen or subscribe to our articles via videocast or podcast on YouTube on the UNIVRM channel. This has been a videocast and podcast by univrm.com, and we hope to bring you more videocasts and podcasts in future.